Vice President Mike Pence released a statement before the breach into the Capitol saying he does not have the power to discard electoral votes.
White House reporter for Real Clear Politics, Philip Wegmann, joins us now to talk about Pence's remarks and the growing splintering within the Republican Party. Great to see you, Phil.
Good to see you, Phil.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, so you've covered Pence for a long time. We asked you before, what do you think he's going to do? And you very accurately predicted. You said, listen, he's Mr. Constitution. He's going to certify these results. And you were 100% correct. What did you make of his role yesterday and the reporting that Trump has been, viciously nasty to him throughout all of this?
Well, I think the timing here is incredibly interesting because by my count, President Trump asked Mike Pence no less than 7 times to not certify the vote, to send it back to the states with a sort of applesauce argument about the extra constitutional powers that the vice president had. Turns out the thousands of people who were actually there on the National Mall took the president at his word, and they agreed with his constitutional interpretation. But what is interesting is that by about President Trump's 5th or 6th exhortation to Mike Pence to send this back to the states, as Trump told those folks on the mall that Pence could reverse this, what does Mike Pence do? He releases that letter that you just pointed to. It's released by the White House, not by Mike Pence personally, not by the Trump campaign, instead by the White House on White House letterhead. And the key line there is where the vice president says, I have reviewed my abilities, and under the Constitution, I am bound to, give a fair vote, but I do not have the authority to decertify any electoral college votes. At the end of the day, Mike Pence was again Mr. Constitution.
Yeah, and this is the interesting thing there, Phil, which is that he apparently told Senator Jim Inhofe, he was like, after all I've done for Trump, this is according to Senator Inhofe, and it's true. I mean, the first thing after the storming of the Capitol, actually, that Trump tweeted was not about, suspend or whatever. It was, hey, screw Mike Pence. He was attacking Mike Pence for that. This is a major, I think, break within their relationship, obviously. How do you expect Pence to handle this going forward? His own chief of staff is now barred from the White House grounds. Just break that down for us.
Well, right now, Mike Pence is the winner of this entire tragic, unfortunate episode. He is, in fact, his own tragic figure, almost like this is a Greek drama. But look, because of the violence that we saw yesterday and because of the way the vice president handled himself, he is getting support and praise from both sides of the aisle. I mean, it's kind of wild that you have Democrats praising Mike Pence, but that's what's happening right now. I think that if you boil this down, you have Pence who, from the beginning of his time as vice president, has never said anything contrary to Trump. He has never publicly criticized him. He has been nothing but loyal. But what we see is that there is a higher loyalty, and numerous people who were close to Pence before the Trump era told me this. He was more loyal to principle and Constitution than he was to the president. And this took Trump, by surprise, apparently. And it's interesting that, Trump would, throw out everything that Pence has done for him, whether it was all of the times that Pence looked past scandals, whether it was Pence helming the coronavirus task force, you name it. Trump ignored 4 years of loyalty from a vice president who, was really sacrificial because he didn't like, in the end, the last thing that Pence did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that Pence ultimately, when it was like the last possible exit, did the right thing. There's a lot of reports about different Trump administration officials who are resigning, Mick Mulvaney, Stephanie Grisham, and more. How deep is this split? How far do you think those resignations will go? And what do you make of the chatter this time with the 25th Amendment?
I think the chatter about the 25th Amendment could be taken a lot more seriously if we didn't hear it just about every month for the last 4 years. Obviously, This is an indictment on our industry. when we listen to the people who cry wolf, when we listen to the people talking about the people supposedly talking about crying wolf, I mean, sometimes it's just hearsay and we're removed 2 or 3 times, then I think our audience gets to a point where they just tune it out. And right now, that's what this is. It's chatter. But I think that a lot of that has been blunted because what did we see yesterday and then this morning? Pence finally turned on the president, said, no, I'm following the Constitution. The Republican Party, for the most part, from Mitch McConnell through a number of the senators and congressmen who oppose the challenge against the Electoral College, they turned on the president too, and locked out of his own Twitter account at around 4 o'clock in the morning. The president passes along a statement to Dan Scavino and says, it is finished. I am conceding.
So this is the interesting thing there, Phil. What are the next 14, 13 days or whatever look like at the White House? I've seen mass resignations of NSC officials, deputy press secretaries, and former White House press secretary. Stephanie Grisham even resigned over this. She worked for the Trumps for like 5 years. I mean, I don't think we're talking enough about how remarkable all of that is. What does that building operate and look like? You work there every day.
Well, the dam broke with Pence.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't understate his loyalty. I asked him one time what I thought was the perfect question to get him off of his talking points. I mean, you know this, Sagar. The guy is a messaging machine.
Totally.
I thought, I'll ask him a question that no other reporter in D.C. will, and I'll get a personal answer. And I asked him, how do you pray during the pandemic? He said, all in one breath, I pray for our first responders. I pray that our leaders would have wise counsel. And I pray a prayer of thanksgiving that Donald Trump is president of the United States right now. This is someone who is so loyal, so on brand that, even Trump invades his own conversations with Almighty God, right? So when Pence says, no, there is something I will not do, that signals to every other staffer that, no, this is not normal. And we saw that this wasn't just sort of, hyperbole. This was actually action. People were storming the U.S. Capitol. I think the combination of Pence's stance and what we were seeing on cable television signaled to a lot of White House staff that enough was enough and that they could actually resign in good conscience.
All right. Well, we'll see where we go from here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great to have your analysis.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys.
Tomorrow on Rising, another big show. David Sirota, Irene Osei Frimpong, Will Jawando, and Inez Stepman are all going to join us.
That's right. Remember to hit the subscribe button. Don't miss any of our videos. Don't forget to like and share as well. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Have a good one, guys.